Coming up today, Korea shows off its Government 3.0 initiative, which uses technology to customize services and to enhance communication between the people and the government. 2 Vietnamese crewmen have been detained for allegedly killing the ship's Korean captain and the engineer over a dispute. First, Donald Trump has fired his campaign manager for reportedly having a poor relationship with the Republican National Committee and party officials. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello and welcome. It's 6 a.m. on Tuesday, June 21st, here in Seoul. I'm Mark Broom and you're tuned in to our early morning edition of Arirang News. Our top story this morning, Korea is hosting an expo in Seoul featuring its tech-led Government 3.0 initiative. President Park Geun-hye was there on Monday to support the policy that aims to strip back on paperwork and improve communication between the public and their elected officials. Song Ji-sun starts us off.
Government at your fingertips. That's the slogan for the Government 3.0 Expo, held to better help the public understand how the initiative is implemented in their everyday lives. Communication and collaboration has been the key in launching the government's automated immigration system, a simplified annual tax return system, and one-stop services for inheritance matters and childbirth.
정부 3.0의 생활화에 정책의 초점을 맞추고 국민들께서 손끝만으로도 손쉽게 꼭 맞는 서비스를 찾을 수 있도록 정부의 모든 시스템과 제도 혁신을 가속화해 나갈 것입니다.
President Park also vowed smarter administration through cloud computing, Internet of Things, and big data, while allowing the public greater access to those resources.
국민들이 원하는 데이터를 집중 개방해서 일자리 창출과 창업 활성화를 적극 뒷받침하고 창조 경제가 풍성한 결실을 맺을 수 있도록 최선을 다해 지원할 것입니다.
President Park stressed that all innovation must be directed at making a nation where the people are happy, and vowed her administration will work towards catering customized services for each and every person. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
The floor leader of Korea's ruling party has laid out his party's policy priorities on Monday to the National Assembly. Top of the to-do list are labour reform, corporate restructuring and establishing an even stronger alliance with the United States to guard against threats from North Korea. Ji Myung-gil with the details.
Ruling Saenuri Party floor leader Chung Jin-seok took the floor Monday in his first parliamentary address since taking office earlier this month. He began by advocating for a passage of a package of 4 labor reform bills he said would prop up Korea's stagnant economy.
The 4 labor reform bills will help reduce wage imbalances and improve working conditions to thwart low productivity. We urge the opposition to cooperate for quick passage of the bills.
He said if passed, the bills will help provide young people and the elderly with job opportunities. The opposition parties and labor unions, however, believe the bills undermine job security and give employers too much leeway to hire irregular workers. Chung also called for corporate restructuring of ailing companies to improve their financial soundness and minimize the fallout if they fail. He said without drastic restructuring to cut costs, the Korean economy could be in danger. Apart from the economy-related issues, Chung says South Korea should strengthen the alliance with the U.S. to counter North Korea's nuclear ambitions.
The answer is strengthening and building a trust relationship through the South Korea-U.S. alliance. The U.S. should be ready to provide us with their nuclear umbrella at any time.
He also said his party supports Seoul's efforts to fully implement the UN sanctions on Pyongyang and keep up with international moves to impose additional sanctions on the North. Concerning the recent threats made by the Islamic State militant group against South Korea, Chung said the new counter-terrorism center under the Prime Minister's office will act as a control tower against terrorist threats. He said the center will conduct around-the-clock surveillance on potential threats and set up contingency plans. Tong's address is part of a series of briefings scheduled for this week. The leaders of the two main opposition parties will outline their priorities in separate addresses on Tuesday and Wednesday. Kim Young-gin, Arirang News.
Now, two Vietnamese crewmen aboard a deep-sea fishing vessel operating in the Indian Ocean have been accused of killing their Korean captain and his chief engineer. With the motive still unknown, the Korean Coast Guard has dispatched officials to the area for further investigation. Hwang Ho-jun has this report.
The Korean Coast Guard reported Monday that two Vietnamese crewmen aboard a Korean deep-sea fishing vessel operating in the Indian Ocean killed the ship's captain and chief engineer. The victims were allegedly stabbed by the two suspects aboard the Kwanghyun 803 near the coast of Seychelles, located east of the African mainland at around 2 a.m. Korea time. The two suspects were subdued and detained by the other 14 sailors on the vessel, and the ship is currently en route to the Seychelles capital of Victoria, scheduled to arrive in about 4 days. The motive for the killing is yet to be determined. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said it will consult with local authorities about conducting an on-site investigation into the incident and further judicial proceedings. Although the incident happened in waters outside of Korean jurisdiction, prosecutors are saying that wouldn't be a problem. The UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, Article 92, Clause 1, specifically states exclusive jurisdiction is given to the nation of the ship's flag when on the high seas. The Busan District Prosecutor's Office is seeking to indict the suspects once the arrest is made, after the 138-ton vessel successfully docks on the port of Victoria. Hwang Ho-jun, Arirang News.
South Korea has rolled out countermeasures following revelations by the nation's intelligence agency that the Islamic State group is planning terror attacks on South Korean soil. Although most experts say a terrorist attack is not likely imminent, Seoul isn't taking any chances. Oh Se-young reports.
Korea will ramp up security across US Air Force bases in the country and other locations that could be attacked by the Islamic State. This comes after Korea's intelligence service revealed on Sunday that details of 2 US Air Force facilities and a Korean citizen had been specified as targets in a list distributed by the extremist group. Prime Minister Han Kyo-an said Monday that security checks will be enhanced in the specified locations and other possible sites, while personal protection will be enforced for the Korean woman named on the list. But experts say chances of an immediate attack are low.
Though preemptive measures are needed, a direct organized attack on Korea won't be easy to carry out, as it seems that ISIS recruits or sympathizers are few and far between in the country. The recent threats made by ISIS are more likely an attempt to spread fear, strengthen its external image, and offset opposing powers.
Addressing the latest developments, Seoul's National Intelligence Service said Monday at a National Assembly meeting that Korea's military and police will join hands to enhance counter-terrorism measures by the end of the month.
With the focus on prevention, action will be taken upon rigorous intelligence collection on ISIS.
Since last September, Korea has been included as a potential target of attacks by ISIS, listed among countries belonging to what the group describes as a global coalition of devils. In light of these threats and the extremist group's expanding scope of attacks across the world, the government has been taking steps to prevent and counter possible terrorism attempts within its borders. In the last 5 years, 50 people linked to terrorist groups have been deported from the country, and a counter-terrorism centre was established in March this year. Oh Se-young, Arirang News.
South Korea's defense ministry says it's unconcerned by North Korea's criticism of its ongoing crackdown on illegal Chinese fishing in the neutral waters around the Hangang River estuary. Our defense ministry correspondent Kim Young-bin with this report.
South Korea's defense ministry said Monday that the operation in the Hangang River estuary does not break any laws and abides by the armistice agreement that brought an end to the hostilities in the Korean War. It also said the military is ready to counter any threats or provocations from North Korea in the West Sea.
Our operation is not a military provocation as North Korea claims, and our military is fully prepared for any provocations from the North.
Earlier in the day, North state-run Korean Central News Agency called the operation a military provocation and warned the missions could spark an artillery attack like the 2010 shelling of Yeonpyeong-do Island. The agency added that North Korea had previously warned South Korea and the U.S. that any intrusion into its land, air, or sea will be punished. It was the first response by North Korea since South Korea and the UN command began their crackdown earlier this month. The UN command regulates the neutral zone and authorized the operation. A growing number of fishing boats from China has trespassed into the military buffer zone in recent years, especially in June, the peak season for blue crabs. Kim Hyun-bin, Arirang News.
U.S. Defense Secretary Ashton Carter says the U.S.'s cooperative relationship with South Korea and Japan is a key part of Washington's Asia-Pacific security network. Speaking at the Center for New American Security on Monday, Carter said the pioneering trilateral mechanism maximizes the three sides' individual contributions. He added that the partnership between Washington, Tokyo and Seoul helps the U.S. coordinate responses to North Korea's nuclear and missile provocations. The U.S. Defense Chief also announced plans to conduct a trilateral ballistic missile warning exercise in the waters off Hawaii later this month. However, Carter did not mention plans to deploy a U.S. missile defense system known as THAAD to South Korea. Now, after raiding Lotte Group's headquarters, affiliates and homes of executives last week, prosecutors are now in the process of interrogating those brought in for questioning. On Monday, one executive was arrested on charges of destroying key evidence. Korea's fifth biggest conglomerate is under investigation for allegedly setting up slush funds. Kim Hae-sung has the latest.
Korean prosecutors arrested a former Lotte executive on charges of destroying evidence without warrant on Monday. In the latest development in the probe into Lotte Group's slush funds, a former executive of Lotte Chemical was found to have played a key role in destroying evidence during a raid last Tuesday. Seoul Central District Prosecutor's Office confirmed the accusation on Monday and is expected to issue an arrest warrant in 2 days after they investigate whether there was someone behind the destruction of the evidence. Since launching a full investigation into the matter on June 10th, a team of more than 200 investigators have already raided Lotte's headquarters, its affiliates, and the homes of key executives to confiscate accounting books and asset transfer records. The main question of the probe is how Lotte founder Shin Gyuk-ho and his second son, Chairman Shin Dong-bin, collected a total of $25 million in funds from Lotte units every year. Lotte Group has denied the allegations, saying the $25 million were given in the form of dividends and salaries. Investigators also believe that Lotte executives had created secret funds through shady property contracts and internal deals among subsidiaries.
Through inside trading among its subsidiaries, Korean family-owned conglomerates, or chaebols, have gained profits. There have been continuous efforts by the government, like the Fair Trade Commission, to solve this problem, but it's still a difficult issue to tackle.
As the probe widens, there are speculations that prosecutors may even summon core members of Lotte's founding family. Kim Hae-sung, Arirang News.
Donald Trump has fired his campaign manager for reportedly having a poor relationship with the Republican National Committee and party executives. Trump's spokeswoman confirmed Corey Lewandowski's departure on Monday, adding that the campaign appreciated his hard work and dedication. Lewandowski had been an almost permanent fixture by Trump's side since the start of his campaign and travelled with the presumptive Republican nominee to most of his campaign stops. Himself a controversial figure, Lewandowski frequently rejected the idea that Trump needed to hire more experienced political handlers or tone down his remarks. Staying in the United States, and the shooter in the deadly terror attack on a gay nightclub in Orlando reportedly demanded the United States stop bombing Iraq and Syria. The FBI revealed Monday that the gunman, Omar Mateen, called 911 3 times during the attack while holding more than a dozen people hostage. He described himself as an Islamic soldier and said the US should stop bombing the Middle Eastern countries, saying that was why he was carrying out the massacre. He also warned of further attacks before he ended his third and final phone call to the authorities. Last week's massacre at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando killed 49 people and wounded 53 more. Martin was also killed by SWAT police when they raided the club. 18 of those injured are still being treated at the Orlando Regional Medical Center. Well, that's all we have for now on this Tuesday morning here in Seoul. I'm Mark Broom. Thank you, as always, for watching. We'll be back throughout the day with more newscasts. Our next scheduled bulletin coming up at 10 a.m. Korea time. So until then, goodbye.